Good morning. This is Cynthia A. Johnson with Stand Up Now. Thank you for tuning in to this show. I hope you find this half hour enjoyable and inspiring as we showcase regular people from the city of Detroit who are doing great things and really making a difference in our city, the city of Detroit. Good morning, family. This is Cynthia A. Johnson. You are listening to Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson. My co-host is Miss Joyce Moore. Good morning, Joyce.
Good morning to you and to the family.
We have a special guest online with us today, a professor from, well, I'm going to let him tell you. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Dan Crane. I'm a law professor at the University of Michigan. It's great to be on your show.
I appreciate this. The reason that I contacted you was because I read an article that you wrote in regards to Tesla Motors. Is that the correct pronunciation?
That's correct. That's right. Tesla Motors, they are a new American car company based out in Palo Alto, California, and they have made, since 2012, all-electric vehicles, no internal combustion at all, no use of gasoline, that are being sold across the country today. And this is a car that Consumer Reports has called the best-performing car they've ever tested of any kind.
And that's what piqued my curiosity to speak with you and someone from Tesla Motors. They have not contacted me, and if you have some kind of way of contacting them, that would be good. But in the meantime, I would like you to explain to the listening audience about Tesla. And just in case anyone wants to call in, our phone number is 313-871-6094 or 313-871-6095. Attorney.
Great. So it's my pleasure, and it's a long story. So please stop me whenever it gets too long. But the question that's being thought about across the country today on a state-by-state basis is whether Tesla should have the right to distribute its cars directly to consumers, to open its own showrooms and service centers, as opposed to going through dealer networks, as has traditionally been done in the car industry. If you sort of think about it, most products, if you want to buy from the manufacturer, you can buy directly from the manufacturer. If you want to buy an iPhone, you can go to an Apple store. If you want to buy a pair of Nike shoes, you can go to a Nike retail store. Most manufacturers in this country have the right to open up a store and sell you their product directly, and there are many good reasons why companies want to do that. The reason Tesla wants to sell directly to consumers is because it's introducing this revolutionary new technology that really is going to replace eventually internal combustion cars, but for the moment at least, it seems clear that the car dealers, the traditional car dealers, are not terribly interested in selling these kinds of cars. Consumer Reports did a study earlier this year where they sent secret shoppers to a number of showrooms across the country that did sell some kind of electric cars, and found that the dealers were by and large very uninformed about electrical vehicles, and also actually in many cases actively discouraged customers from buying electrical vehicles. And that's understandable because electrical vehicles require much less servicing than do traditional cars, and dealers make lots of their money from servicing cars after they're purchased. So Tesla really has good reasons for saying, look, if we're to get this new environmentally friendly, energy dependence-oriented technology onto the roads, we need to go outside traditional dealer networks and distribute directly to consumers. The legal problem that Tesla is facing is that across the country since the 1950s, most states have dealer franchise protection laws in place that say that a manufacturer that distributes a car has to do so through a franchise dealer and cannot go directly to consumers. Now, there is some wiggle room in these statutes, and they're not clear in many cases as to whether a manufacturer like Tesla that doesn't want to use dealers at all but only wants to distribute directly is even covered by the statute. Here in Michigan, in October, we had a new bill passed in the legislature. The old statute in place for many decades in Michigan was not at all clear as to whether it would apply to a manufacturer like Tesla that wants to distribute directly. And unfortunately, without anyone really knowing what was going on October 1st, a senator who has ties to the car lobby snuck in an amendment, a very seemingly innocuous amendment to a bill that really closed down Tesla's opportunity to argue that they were not prohibited from doing business directly in Michigan. And I and Tesla and many others had no chance to comment.
They were not prohibited, or they were prohibited?
Well, the old statute was ambiguous. So what the old statute said was that a manufacturer may only distribute through, quote, its franchised auto dealers. Now, that assumed that a manufacturer had franchised auto dealers. In the days when this statute was passed, you only had the big three in town, and the big three, of course, did deal through franchise dealers. The argument for that statute was always that the manufacturers had too much bargaining power over their dealers, and it would be unfair to allow them to undermine their own dealers by opening up their own showrooms. Of course, that has nothing to do with Tesla. It's not trying to use dealers at all. It wants to go direct to consumers. So there would have been a legal issue under the old statute as to whether, because the statute assumed that it applied to manufacturers who had franchise dealers, whether it would have applied at all to someone like Tesla that does not have franchise dealers. By sneaking an amendment into the bill on October 1st through a floor amendment that took out the word "its," just one little word.
One word.
Whole meaning, one word. One word can make a big meaning in a statute. And taking out that one little word made it clear that it applied to everyone, whether or not they had franchise dealers. Basically, it says you have to have franchise dealers if you want to distribute cars at all. You can't open your own showrooms. And the dealers understood this. This is why they did it. They told the governor's office that they wanted to prevent a repeat of what had happened in Massachusetts, where in September the Massachusetts Supreme Court had ruled that their statute, which was very similar to Michigan's, did not apply at all to direct distribution, since it was intended only to protect dealers who were in franchise relationships. And the dealers in Michigan were concerned that the Michigan courts would interpret our statute the same way. So without anyone understanding what they were doing, they snuck the word "its" out of the statute and then sent the bill to Governor Snyder, claiming that it didn't really change anything at all. So it's really a quite deceptive tactic.
So that everyone will be clear, give the definition of franchise and dealers. Give us an example, like General Motors as an example, or Ford Motor Company, or Chrysler. Give us an example what you're speaking of.
Sure. So take General Motors. How do you buy a Chevrolet car? Well, you go to a Chevrolet dealership, right? That Chevrolet dealership is not owned by General Motors. That's an independent business that has a contractual relationship with General Motors, where General Motors basically sells cars through them, but that dealer sets the price, that dealer performs the service, that dealer is the one negotiating with you over all aspects of price and service. And so when you actually buy a car today in Michigan, you're not dealing with General Motors. You're dealing with a franchised auto dealer, someone who's got an independent business and has a contractual relationship with General Motors. Now, it's important to understand that these franchise dealers are not sort of small mom and pop businesses. So, for example, the Penske Automotive Group, which is based in Bloomfield Hills, is the second largest network of dealers in America. It has 140 dealerships inside that network and annual revenues of over $13 billion. So these are very large business enterprises, these dealerships, but they are independent from the car companies. And they're the ones that customers today, under existing law, have to deal with directly. What Tesla would like to be able to do is say, I want to bypass the middleman. I want to open a store that's my own store and deal directly with consumers and cut out the middleman.
Middleman being the dealer.
That's right. The dealer is the middleman here.
All right. So let's just say, for instance, I'm a union member. I have concerns with that. And I know that there are some who are listening. How can you address those whose jobs may be taken?
Absolutely. So, Tesla has 56 suppliers in the state of Michigan. It buys about $170 million in parts and services from those suppliers a year in Michigan. So even if you're just thinking alone about how this affects the Michigan economy, by saying no to Tesla, what we're saying is let's cut off the opportunity for some of our locally owned businesses to be able to expand their sales to this emerging American car company. But it's even worse than that. It's not just about existing jobs not being able to be grown here in Michigan. It's also that by not allowing Tesla to open their own service centers and sales centers here in Michigan, we're also saying no to new jobs in Michigan because now people who own a Tesla, you can still buy a Tesla in Michigan. You buy it directly from Tesla. They'll deliver it to you off of a truck. But what you don't have is in Michigan is service centers and sales centers that are employing Michigan people. So right now, if someone owns a Tesla and you want to get it serviced, the closest service center is in Columbus, Ohio. So basically, by blocking Tesla this way, we're saying, please take your business down to the Buckeyes. Which I don't think makes great sense for Michigan.
Okay, and I agree with that, but I'm going to go right back to, and because I want to make sure that the audience is real clear on union jobs. Is this at all? Does this cut out union jobs?
Well, I don't know specifically about the unionization level of the current Michigan suppliers. I am sure that many of those are unionized companies. And that would mean that to the extent you are denying a company like Tesla the opportunity to grow larger, that effectively means there would be a loss of union jobs in Michigan.
May I ask a question? Just out of curiosity, I was just trying to figure out some of the advantages. Can you identify maybe two disadvantages and two advantages of having Tesla, have a person buy the car directly as opposed to going to a dealership right now?
Sure. So I think the advantages are there's a good chance you'll get the car at a lower cost. There was a study by the United States Justice Department in 2009 that found that with direct distribution, a customer would save on average about $2,200 per vehicle. It's about 8% of the sales price on average would be saved. So there's a chance for customers to have important cost savings from being able to go directly and deal with the manufacturer directly. There are also, I think the biggest advantage, though.
Hello, are you still there?
We've lost. Ask him if you can call right back, please. I was just going to say that, I was looking at some of the advantages, some of the disadvantages, which is why I asked him specifically, could he identify those? He says cost was a factor, and that could be for some people who are trying, but I was looking at the technology itself, that it was a new technology, and sometimes when you start out with new technology and talking about a profit, you're threatening the already existing automotive industry as such. So, I think that's part of the fact is that because of the new technology that, we have someone that's threatening the old.
Well, but this really isn't fair to it's not fair to the Michigan citizens who should be able to have the right, even though they, according to Dan, they can still make the purchase of these vehicles, but the dealers are they're the ones who's having the issue with this with allowing Tesla Motors to even participate.
Because of the money factor. We just talked about it. It's about money, too. Dealers make money off every car, right? They set their own prices. I was reading about a dealership and the definition of a dealership. It says, is a business that sells new or used cars at the retail level based on a dealership contract with an automaker or its but in interim, it just says that really it's about money, like they have a maintenance, which they're going to make money off of, parts they're going to make money off of, warranty they're going to make money off of. So it's, from what I'm gathering, the dealerships have to deal with about monies.
And I was asking him the question about dealerships. The dealerships, are they unionized?
I'm not sure if they're unionized, but I'm going to stress again. I was just looking here. It says in 2013, the United States new car dealers market was close to $715 billion, and the used car dealer industry almost $89 billion. So it's about money.
It's strictly about money, and it's about blackballing Tesla.
Well, Tesla and any other new company coming in.
That's right.
With new ideas on cost factors of saving and how they're going to appeal to the new generation to come, economically as well as new technology. Okay, he's back. Yeah.
And so really it is not even, at this point, what I want to ask Dan is he back on the line? Hello.
Hi, Cynthia, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Hi.
I'm so sorry that happened.
No problem.
Yeah, you identifying some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages. One of them was a cost factor. So if you could continue, we'd appreciate it.
Before you continue, when I was asking about the unions, when the cars are being manufactured by Tesla out of California, but if Michigan allowed, or would Michigan allow, or are you all trying to get manufacturing in Michigan?
I should be clear. I don't speak for Tesla. I'm just an academic working on really the distribution issues as a matter of professional interest. But it is my understanding that Tesla is not talking about opening up a plant here in Michigan. What Tesla is already doing is purchasing parts that they put into Tesla cars from 56 different suppliers here in Michigan.
I got you.
So there are local businesses here in Michigan, and again, I don't know about the unionization status of those, but I believe that many of them probably are union shops that are producing parts that are sold to Tesla. And Tesla, has a factory in California. They're opening up a new battery plant in Nevada. So there are many different places where economic activity around producing Tesla happens, including here in Michigan.
Okay, now can we go back to the advantages and disadvantages?
Sure. No.
Okay, great. Thank you. We've got cost as one of them because that's a very important factor.
Right. So from a consumer perspective, there is a good chance that you'll see lower costs if you were talking about going directly to the manufacturer. Another big advantage of direct distribution is that Tesla needs to be able to go directly to consumers because the existing dealer networks, as I said before, are not terribly interested in promoting electrical vehicle technology. They just as soon sell traditional cars. Mm-hmm. And so their salespeople are not particularly educated, and it takes a lot of educating consumers on these new technologies to sell these cars. So really for Tesla to be successful in penetrating the market and creating demand for these new revolutionary cars, they really need to be able to go directly to consumers, to hire their own salespeople, their own technicians, and be able to direct the activity at the retail level.
Well, just out of curiosity, suppose I bought one and I had problems with it in terms of maintenance. Now, first of all, I got to understand how it's shipped to me. I mean, as a scenario, how it's shipped to me, and then say I have a problem with it. How is the maintenance done? And after that?
Right. So right now, it cannot be done in Michigan because Tesla's not allowed even to open a service center in Michigan.
Oh, really? Is that by state law, state statute or something?
That's the state statute we're talking about. That's the state statute that says that Governor Snyder just signed a few weeks ago that basically says Tesla can't have its own service center. It can't even show a car in Michigan. It can't even open up a gallery in a mall and show you a Tesla. That's illegal in Michigan.
Well, that's discrimination.
That is absolutely unconscionable as far as I'm concerned, because first of all, most people didn't even know anything about a Tesla car, Tesla Motors. If anyone wants to check it out, and I really wish you would. And Daniel A. Crane, he was a guest writer for the Detroit News. This article can be found on the October 17th, 2014 edition. And I really want you to go and read that article, Detroit Free Press. Again, the column, Detroit Free Press guest writer was our guest today, Daniel A. Crane.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Okay, one more question. I know here most of the automotive industry is talking about hybrids, but yours is not a hybrid.
Right, so Tesla is not a hybrid, so it's an all-electrical vehicle. Right. There are a few other companies that make all-electrical vehicles, so there are some companies working on that as well. The difference with Tesla, what makes it so outstanding, is that the battery range is up to 300 miles. Most of these cars have a very small battery range today, so you could drive maybe 70 miles between charges. With a Tesla, you can drive up to 300 miles currently. That number is going to increase over time, which means you really have the mobility of a traditional car in terms of being able to get out. Now, Teslas are currently very expensive. The first models are upwards of $70,000, but Ooh. Tesla is in the process of trying to sort of create a third generation where the price will drop in half. So, it's like lots of new technology. It's very expensive when it first comes out.
Absolutely.
But once they get up to a larger scale, this is going to become a car that's very affordable, and the prices will just keep dropping down. And frankly, the big three car manufacturers don't want that to happen. They feel threatened by Tesla, and so they're supporting the dealers in preventing this new competition from coming to the market.
But when you said that the Tesla car is ultimately less expensive than the ones that are made
through the automotive industry,
right, through the big, who are given the green light to manufacture and sell in Michigan. But okay, so Tesla cannot manufacture, they can't build.
They can't sell?
But
they can sell.
Right.
Can they sell?
No, so what Tesla cannot do is open its own showroom or its own service center in the state of Michigan. If they want to sell a car in Michigan, they would have to enter into a contract with a dealer to sell that car for them. And the problem with that is that those dealers, that the evidence shows those dealers might say, yeah, sure, we'll carry a Tesla car, but they're not going to do a good job in promoting it. They're not going to have educated salespeople who know about it. They're not going to be pushing that technology because, again, that takes away from more profitable sales that they have of other kinds of cars. So
the more questions we ask them, the clearer it's becoming.
Right.
To a lot of other people out here.
Okay, so let's say, for instance, I want a Tesla motor. I want a Tesla. What's the first thing that I have to do? And I live in Michigan.
Right. So there are Tesla owners here, and the way they bought their car was to go to the Tesla website and basically order one online. And then Tesla will schedule a time where a truck will show up at your house, and they'll roll it off the truck and sell it to you. And that Michigan cannot prevent from happening. The problem is if you want to visit the showroom first to test drive one, or to talk to a salesperson about what the technology is like, or just to see the thing before you buy it. There's no place in Michigan. You have to go to Ohio.
Right, Ohio.
There's no place in Michigan they can't do it. And then once you buy it, if you want to get it serviced, like any car needs to be serviced occasionally,
Ohio.
Again, there's no place in Michigan it can be serviced because Tesla cannot open a service center here. So really the effect of this is that, yeah, you can buy it in Michigan, but it's hard to do that, and you can't see it first, and then to get service, you have to go to Ohio.
That's called blackballing.
That's right.
But I guess the concern is, what would you want the people here in the state of Michigan to do to help?
Well,
if there would be a solution.
Snyder, although I really disagreed with him signing that bill.
I absolutely did too.
And I thought it was disingenuous the way the whole thing happened and really corrupt in many ways. But he did say in the signing statement that this issue needs to be reconsidered in the next legislative session. So I do expect that I hope someone in the legislature will be introducing a bill to make this right in the next legislative session. And I hope that that people will call their state representatives and senators and say, please allow this, allow competition, allow direct distribution, allow electrical vehicles, because it's good for Michigan jobs, it's good for Michigan consumers, it's good for environment, it's good for free enterprise. There's no good reason to block it unless you want to protect the dealers from competition, and that's not a good reason to have those laws.
I agree with you.
Well, my question is, like I said, what would you need the people to do? So what we need to do, basically, you're saying, is get with our legislators and draft and ask them to draft some form of legislation that will allow this to happen. Simple as that. That's
right. I read that 99%. There was only one person who abstained or who voted against the bill. So all the other legislators voted for this, and I don't even think that they knew what the heck they were voting for.
That's the terrible part about this. What happened, there was another bill pending since May in the legislature that had nothing to do with direct distribution. It was about titling fees, nothing to do with this issue. But when that came on October 1st to the floor of the Michigan legislature, a single senator who had ties to the car lobby just sort of snuck in this floor amendment, and no one knew what it meant. You strike a single word, you add a few words here and there, and it seems like it's just cleaning up the language. So The spokesperson for the Democratic caucus in both the House and the Senate said afterwards, our members had no idea this was about Tesla. We thought this was just an uncontroversial cleaning up the language, updating the language.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you keep us posted on what's going on with it in terms of legislation, and maybe we can help or assist somewhere along the way in terms of notifying people and letting them know what's going on? And if you need write-ins, letters to legislators and things of this sort, we can help do that.
Let us help you.
Great. Thank you. I really appreciate that, and I do hope that within the next few months we'll be seeing a new bill, and if that happens, I will certainly let you know and encourage your listeners to get involved in this issue.
Absolutely. That's how.
Is there any other questions that I know that there are so many questions that I have that are going on in my mind, but if I wanted, again, I'm going to go back because I wanted to make sure that this question is asked. If I wanted to buy a Tesla vehicle, I would contact California, or I would go on the website, and then they would bring that truck to my house, and then I would have the opportunity to see the vehicle that I've already seen.
No, unfortunately, the way it works is right now you'd have to commit to buy it before you saw it.
Right.
Oh,
See, that's the problem. He said there's no showrooms. Am I right?
Showrooms, you can't. Yeah, exactly. So you could possibly go to
Ohio
and take a look at it. You could go to Chicago and take a look at it, I suppose. There are places that you could take a look at it. But for the average person, it's just a really hard. It's a hard proposition that you're being asked to buy a vehicle that you can't go and test drive. That
wow.
You can't go and take a look at.
We have to deal with this again. We really do. And I appreciate you calling in. You have my phone number. Please, let's stay in contact. We have less than 1 minute. Thank you so much. This is a very interesting topic. This is one that people did not know about. And it's a shame. This is not the only bill that was crammed through without the people even knowing and without the legislators letting us know something like this was going on. I thank you. We thank you. This is Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson, and my co-host is Joyce Moore. Thank you, Dan. God bless you all.
Tell us exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do and what threat it might pose to the whole dealership industry.
Sure. Hi, Eric. How you doing? Elon Musk wants to control, everything. He's created the Tesla brand as kind of its own little infrastructure, and he wants you to go into his stores and buy his products directly from him, just like you would an Apple store, buy your iPhone at an Apple store. And that's not the way the car industry works in America. We have independent dealers who buy the vehicles from Ford, General Motors, Toyota, and so on, and sell them to the customers, and they don't want to have their business model cut out. So they're very defensive, very concerned that if Tesla gets the right to do this, that maybe Ford, GM, and the rest could follow suit.
Andrea, why do the dealers have so much power here in this relationship?
I think it goes back to years ago when the dealers were afraid that the large auto OEMs would come in and sell directly to consumers and then cut into their margins. And so they were sort of powerful people in town, and they'd go to the local legislature, their local lawmaker, and get laws on the books that protected them. And those protectionist laws still exist today.
Betty, I mentioned that you've spent lots of time with Elon Musk because you have some insights into his personality. He has not shrunk from just about any challenge that I know he's embraced. And does it appear to you as though he's as determined with this one as he was getting Tesla's cars on the road to begin with?
Well, I think he sees a really good opportunity because let's face it, guys, who really likes buying a car from a dealership? I mean, does anybody really enjoy going into a dealership and buying a car because you know that you feel like you're being swindled, right? You're paying extra fees, you're paying taxes, you don't know where your money exactly is going. So he kind of feels like there's this opportunity here to break up this business model. And so that's why, in some ways, you are seeing these dealerships fight back in various states. We talked about Texas, North Carolina, and others, and why the dealerships are running a little bit.
So, Andrea, is his plan going to work?
I think it will. Tesla is able to sell directly in most of the states that it wants to. One of the most restrictive states in the nation is Texas, and yet Tesla's still able to sell hundreds of cars there. And then also, this isn't really a problem internationally, so it's a huge opportunity to change the way we buy cars in America.
Jamie, back to you for a second. Put yourself in the shoes of Alan Mulally, for example. Would Ford want to sell directly to car buyers? And if it does, why? What advantages does, I mean, I presume that there's some additional margin to harvest there, but there's a lot of fixed costs associated with running dealerships and inventory that you may end up getting stuck with that car manufacturers that have been able now and then to stick to dealers with.
Yeah, that's right. I think Ford has avoided commenting on Tesla's battles in courts or in state legislatures, but it's a complicated situation for them. Ford, a couple leaders ago under Jack Nasser, tried to create some ways to sell vehicles directly to consumers, and there are some advantages there in being able to control the messaging, control how the vehicle is sold and presented. But they have these contracts that they're stuck with, and there's almost no way to imagine getting out of it. And as you've said, they have some benefits. The dealers are important people in the community. They advertise a lot. They try to generate a lot of goodwill. They handle the warranty work and the service work that would really create a whole management apparatus and another layer of expense that the automakers haven't had to control.
I would just add that it does create for some really strange situations. And to Andrea's point, I mean, I understand right now we're only talking about a goal of 20,000, 21,000 vehicles for Elon. So yes, there aren't a lot, when you break it all down, there aren't a lot of cars being sold in each state. However, it creates for some really odd situations where in Texas, for instance, there are no price tags on these Teslas. You can't even quote a price on any of these Model S's. You have to actually go online then and then buy it from California. If you're in North Carolina, what the legislators are proposing, or the dealers are proposing, is that you can't even buy one online. You can't even go on your computer and buy online a Model S. It's that restrictive.
It's almost like unpasteurized milk.
And it's a strange situation, but Andrea,
it does make for odd situations.
Andrea, if Elon Musk succeeds in creating its own retail network for Tesla, that has big implications for the auto industry and for others, probably, I would think, as well.
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, basically, if you look at what Apple did 10, 12 years ago, at that time, and it's hard to remember now, but at that time, the only way you could buy an Apple product was if you went into a big box retail store like a Best Buy or, remember, CompUSA. But now it's totally normal to buy, say, a technology product from a mall or a retail store. But at the time, that was just like this crazy way to sell technology, but now it's just the way things are done. And Tesla's trying to do the same thing, and they actually hired George Blankenship from Apple to help pioneer this retail store strategy.
Hi, this is Dave Serio from the radio program You Ought to Know. I'm standing in front of the Tesla S. This is a paramount car in the industry right now. This is the P85 model, which happens to be the strongest powered Tesla S model available. Now, the couple great things about this car. First of all electric that you may already know. And this car has a great range of 250, maybe up to 300 miles, depending on use. Now, with this particular power, it does 0 to 60 in less than 60 seconds. This is a sedan that seems to be doing very well in the marketplace also, outselling a number of very popular brands at this point, especially in the California area where it is manufactured. Now, the Tesla S has a lot of improvements to it that cars have never had, or different facets of these particular improvements that have really been blossomed in this particular car. It's not only just an electric car, but it is an electric luxury car that you can take anywhere and enjoy, and has a lot of different items. We're going to talk about some of those in just a little bit. Even the key fob is the design of the Tesla S car. And it knows you. When you walk up to the car, it will open up the door handles and allow you to get in the car with no problem at all. And of course, everything is touch button inside the car once you're in. Climate control, stereo system, navigation, Bluetooth, all kinds of different features that we're going to go over that you're going to find to be very interesting. The Tesla S, all electric automobile. I think you're going to find this to be a real fun drive. The Tesla S model is full of space. 4 or 5 can easily ride, and golf bags and luggage can go with them. You've got a lot of space here in the rear of the vehicle. You've got a cargo cover to protect everything. You have another space here that you can place and get more of your cargo in there. So that could easily be some luggage down there that isn't even visible. And of course, the area here. Now, this isn't the only cargo area of the vehicle, but this is the trunk. We'll show you the frunk later. The Tesla S model also has automatic trunk release and automatic trunk closure. Very simple, works by the remote, and then there's a button right here on the vehicle, touch and close. It's as simple as that. The great thing about the Model S Tesla is you can just walk up with your key fob and the door handles will automatically come out, allowing you to open the door and get in. The car knows you already. Have a seat, and everything else is push button glory. The Tesla S has a full screen, I mean a full screen in this vehicle that will allow you to do virtually everything. You have your media, you also have your navigation, which can set up for a full screen, letting you know exactly energy consumption and projected range. Right now we're at 80% power and we have a projected range of 225 miles. You also have the web, which, by the way, if this car does it and your car doesn't, you may not like this, but you can actually access the web while you're driving. Yes. And also the camera. It's a HD rear view camera that you can pull up anytime. It automatically comes up when you're in reverse, but it could also be pulled up anytime. Bluetooth, you know, of course, it has all types of Bluetooth. You can have your phone here. The phone for this particular owner is not in the car right now, so that's why it's saying no phone connected, but your Bluetooth will work perfectly with it. It even has setups, of course, for all types of things, including the person driving the car has their own setups. So it does a little bit of everything. The display for your radio can also be put right here on your dash, and when you're using your navigation, the navigation also will be here and also on your dash, telling you your next turn. So it's all there in front of you. Distractions? Some people may think so, but they've made it so simple that it isn't distracting. It's right there in front of you the whole time, your miles per hour, your energy consumption, your range, and also any navigation or stereo systems that you need. The only real buttons in this car, other than the power windows on the driver's sill, are hazards and glove box. Everything else, completely electronic, ready for you to access. Now, one of the pet peeves of a lot of people when they buy a brand new car, especially an expensive car, is how it can get outdated so quick with electronics. But the great thing about this car is they're ready for that. They're ready to give you updates for your automobile that will do new features and enhance features that you already have, so your car does not stay dated to 2013. Updates available. Tesla will keep them going. I am driving the Tesla S model P85, which is the highest performance model of the Tesla line. This car has great acceleration. Quiet as a church mouse, as they say. Very, very quiet. In fact, we were sitting in the car and trying to hear someone talking outside and couldn't even hear them. It is a very quiet automobile. In front of me, it's giving me all of the charging information and also length, plus also my music information, but I can put anything up there on the main cluster. I can put the music up there, I could put the web up there, I could put navigation up there, whatever I want to put up there as far as in this cluster information, I can move there. Also, of course, the main TV screen here, I can put in different areas. I can fill up the whole screen with one, or I can separate it as I have here with my music and also my navigation separated. You can do any variants that you want. The car has great acceleration. It is right there immediately, and of course, very good suspension. This particular car has 21-inch wheels. They do have 19-inch available, but this is the 21-inch wheels that are on this particular car. Performance tires, performance wheels, no doubt about it. And it handles very well. It's a great handling automobile. Does very well around the curves, straightaways, comfortable. Great performance, 0 to 60 in less than 6 seconds. And think of all the things you're not going to have to repair. You don't have to worry about the muffler falling off. You don't have to worry about the engine. So far, this car has received 5-star crash ratings in all categories. Only 1% of automobiles get tested, get that type of results. One of the reasons, no engine. It has larger area for crumple zones, so it's actually safer in a front-end collision. And the side impact test, they did extremely well. The rollover test actually broke the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's roof-crushing equipment. So it's a strong car that does very well in handling and also performance. Find it to be an exceptional vehicle for the money. The Tesla S model is roomy in all aspects. Trunk room, front room, and also the floors. Look, the floor is completely flat for passengers and also for any other type of items that you would like. The owner of this car told me when he goes to a grocery store and just gets like one bag item, he can sit it right in the center between him and the passenger seat, making it easy so he doesn't have to open and close trunks. But it's just a very, very accessible automobile. Nice seating, both front and rear, and cup holders galore. And even the center console will slide forward to go over the cup holders in order for you to have more of an armrest, if you'd like. They've thought of everything. The Tesla S model, really convenient, very nice performance.